Welcome to Wednesday night Satsang.
Amen.
Let us enter into this sacred time together with a moment of prayer. Join with me in closing your eyes, taking a deep cleansing breath. As we let go, we release the day. We open to the presence of Spirit within. Breathing into that awareness, we sense the movement of renewing life energy in and through our body temple. Feel it now. Sense well-being in and through you. Intuiting that new beginning that is arising within you. Something new that wants to be seen, that wants to be explored and known and grown, whether it be in a career situation, in your family, in your finances, and your traveling, or whatever it is that is on your heart that is troubling you this evening. We know that God has a bigger vision for you. And so we open to it, open to greater possibilities, open to new insights, open to the fullness of God right here and right now. We affirm that we have eyes to see the good that is already present in our lives now. We see that good expanding as we bring our full presence to this time, to this space, and bless our satsang this evening with our light and our love. We're so truly grateful for this opportunity to join together as one. And for this we say thank you, thank you, thank you. And so it is. Amen. So let's take that energy we experienced and bring it out into the space around us as we chant and sing our awareness, our faith, our trust in God. Join with us and sing.
I'm thankful, so grateful. I am one in the Spirit all around me. I'm thankful, so grateful. I trust in God. I surrender. I am one in the Spirit all around me. I surrender. I trust in God. I'm thankful, so grateful. I am one in the Spirit all around me. I'm thankful, so grateful. I trust in God. I surrender. I am one in the Spirit all around me. I surrender. I trust in God. I'm thankful, so grateful. I am one in the Spirit all around me. I'm thankful, so grateful. I trust in God.
Join in our mantra chant now. May all beings everywhere be happy and free. Send this joy into our world as we sing together. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu.
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 As I breathe in, shalom, salam, shanti, shanti, shanti. Thoughts I'm thinking, shalom, salam, shanti, shanti, shanti. Words I'm speaking, shalom, salam, shanti, shanti, shanti. All I'm feeling, shalom, salam, shanti, shanti, shanti. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu.
Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu.
Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu.
Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu.
Shanti, shanti, shanti.
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 Feeling that vibration of peace within. Before we move into meditation, it is my honor to introduce to you our guest speaker tonight. I'm grateful that through the power of live streaming, we're able to bring him in to you from Palm Desert, California. Grateful that this week is Spiritual Education and Enrichment Week here at Unity of Houston. Reverend Karen and I have been teaching this week, and all the ministers, and we have two guest faculty, and one of them is our guest speaker tonight. He is the minister who inspired me to be a minister, and I'm just so happy that he said yes and was willing to join us tonight. And I asked him what he would like to do as our theme for the week as we were planning SEE in the Field Week. He chose There's a Spiritual Solution to Every Problem by Dr. Wayne Dyer, as we have been wrestling with all the problems of our country, of our world through this pandemic, political upheaval and such, to remember the truth even in those situations. That seems so pivotal and just right on for us as we're moving into 2021. And his name is Reverend Paul Tenaglia. He was my minister at Unity of New York, and he is so gifted at bringing together spirituality and the arts that actor me, who was in New York, was so inspired by his messages into knowing another possibility for my life, that there was a greater way for me to use those gifts in service to the world. And so I know that his message will touch your heart and inspire you tonight. So let's open our hearts as we listen to this meditation from Reverend Paul Tenaglia.
I was thinking earlier what I wanted to talk with you about, and the word joy popped up. And as I was thinking about joy, I was actually at Home Goods, where I like to hang out sometimes. And one of my weird things is mugs. I love mugs. I have a whole collection in storage, and I have about 6 or 7 of them here with me in Palm Desert. And I got it. There was a mug there, and I said, I'm going to get this. And here it is. I know it's backwards, but it says, "The joy of the Lord is your strength," from Nehemiah 8:10. And I'd seen this before, and I'd heard it before. And all of a sudden, I got a realization of what this joy really was. Joy of the Lord is your strength. The joy of God strengthens me. And as I was walking around Home Goods, I was meditating on joy. What is joy? Years ago, I heard a story about Saint Teresa of Avila. She was a mystic, a teacher, a nun, and she went on a journey. And before leaving, she prayed for a safe trip. Well, the trip was a disaster. There were delays, there was illness, there were accidents, everything that could go wrong, she said, went wrong. And she came home, and when she got unpacked, she said, "God, I prayed for a safe trip, and I got nothing but trouble." And she heard the voice of spirit within tell her, "That's how I treat all my friends." Teresa answered, "And that's why you have so few of them." You can laugh with God. Moses did. Moses, the scripture says that Moses treated God like a friend. They had a friendship. So your joy is God. God is joy. The laughter is an indication that joy is present. Meister Eckhart in the 13th century said, "Joy is the most ineffable sign of the presence of God." The most ineffable sign is joy. So when you have joy, when you're aware of the joy flowing through you, that is the power of spirit at work. Can we raise up joy? Of course. No matter where we are, no matter what we're doing, we can call forth joy. So I invite you to do that right now. I invite you to either close your eyes, keep them open, focus on something that is beautiful, something that is lovely, something that is wonderful in your life. Look at a mandala. Or simply close your eyes and breathe into your heart. Focus on the word joy for a moment. What does joy say to you within? What is Spirit revealing about joy right now? Breathe in joy and breathe out fear. Breathe in joy and breathe out doubt. Breathe in joy and breathe out pain. Breathe in joy and breathe out despair. Breathe in joy and breathe out separation. You may hear a sound here. I'm outside in Palm Desert, California. And the wind is blowing. And the trees are filled with joy. You can hear the rustle. The joy of Spirit is in every living thing. It is within you right now, even though you may not be feeling it at the moment. Simply affirm quietly in your heart, the joy of spirit is my strength. The joy of spirit is my strength. I invite you to focus on your body temple for a moment. If there is a place of hurt, if there is a place of pain, I invite you to breathe the power of joy into that area. Joy is not missing from any part of our being. Your body is filled with joy, with power, with strength. There is only one power, one presence, God the Good, and that is in every square inch of your being. Breathe that truth in. I am one with God's life. I am whole and well. I am one with God's life. I am whole and well. Let that take hold. I invite you now to focus on your heart. The power of love is present right now. Let the joy of spirit radiate from your heart. Let that love flow to every part of your being. We affirm, I am one with God's love. I am successful in all that I do. I am one with God's love. I am successful in all that I do. I now invite you to bring to mind those family, friends, co-workers, acquaintances, people in your life you'd wish to bless. Speak their names out loud. See the joy of God radiating, moving in and through them and their lives as well. We behold the Christ in them. We behold the love in them. We behold the joy in them right now. I am one with God's joy. I make a difference in the world. I am one with God's joy. I make a difference in the world. And so it is. Take a breath. When you're ready, open your eyes. See only joy, only good, only God.
And so as we gently return to this time and place, hearts are at peace and rooted in the love, and the joy, and the presence of God. We're grateful for Reverend Paul and his wonderful meditation, centering us and preparing us. And so this is the time that from this place of having received and returned to the place of the infinite, we remember our source. We remember our love and the spaciousness of our being and the all-giving provision that comes from one source through our lives and out into the world. And so it's our opportunity now to be a part of that flow, giving from our heart and from our love. And so as you prepare your gift, as you give it electronically, as you give it from your heart, let us now bless it with our offertory blessing by calling it by its name. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all the good I am and have, all the good I give and receive. And so it is. Amen.
It's not that unusual when everything is beautiful. It's just another ordinary miracle today. The sky knows when it's time to snow. Don't need to teach a seed to grow. It's just another ordinary miracle today. Life is like a gift, they say, wrapped up for you every day. Open up and find a way to give some of your own. Isn't it remarkable that every time a raindrop falls, it's just another ordinary miracle today? Birds in winter have their fling, but always make it home by spring. It's just another ordinary miracle today. When you wake up every day, please don't throw your dreams away. Hold them close to your heart, 'cause we're all a part of the ordinary miracle. The ordinary miracle. So exceptional that things just work out after all. It's just another ordinary miracle today. The sun comes up and shines so bright, but disappears again at night. It's just another ordinary miracle today. Just another ordinary miracle today.
A number of years ago at Macy's in New York, a little boy was staring at an escalator, watching it go around and around, and a security guard came over to him and said, "Are you lost?" The little boy said, "No, I'm just waiting for my chewing gum to come back." Are you waiting for something to come back in your life? Your life? Your abundance? Your health? A mate? 2020? We feel like 2020 went by and we weren't able to participate in it. We were sheltering, we were quarantined. We were waiting for the chewing gum to come back. We were waiting for our lives to come back. Like that little boy waiting for his gum, we often feel that our prosperity, our success, our healing is a passive activity, a waiting game. When is God going to send my healing? When is God going to give me more money? When is God going to answer my prayer for the right mate, for my designing career, for the restaurant I want to open, for my teaching job, for my role at the Metropolitan Opera? When is my good going to show up for me? Are you watching the escalator go around and around, waiting for that good to show up in your life? When will this virus go away so we can do the things that we want to do? The truth is, our healing shows up when we're ready for our healing. The right and perfect job shows up when we're ready for the right and perfect job. Our success will show up when we are ready for the success to be here. A number of years ago in New York, when I was the minister at Unity of New York, I had a healing service, and I invited anybody to come to the stage who wanted a healing, who wanted the audience, who wanted the congregation to hold them in light, to receive the energy that we were all so willing to give them. I thought maybe 20 or 30 people would show up and come to the stage, and we would give them a wonderful blessing. Well, the people got out of their chairs. They kept coming up to the stage. They kept coming up the stairs. And finally, I think there were maybe only about a quarter of the audience left out in the theater where everybody else was up there. There were hundreds of people on the stage. I was beginning to get worried for their own health and the stage collapsing under them. So we did a quick blessing and I got them off there as quick as I could. That was a powerful demonstration of faith that so many people got up and were willing to say, yes, I am open and I am receptive to the healing power within and for the healing power at work in our wonderful community. They had faith. They knew Spirit was at work, and they were willing to, as it were, come out on stage and say, I accept the healing power that is at work. Faith, as we understand it in Unity, is the inner knowledge, the inner knowing that God is present and at work all the time. Whether we are aware of the presence or not, it is here. Being unaware of that wonderful gift of God within is something we would call grace. Grace is the good of God that is flowing through us regardless of what we are doing, saying, or thinking. But we can increase the good, we can increase our faith and the power of God within by fully accepting the power is here already. When to all appearances our prayers, our affirmations, the retreats, the classes, the Sunday morning services don't seem to be working, we know Spirit is still here. When nothing seems to be moving, when our financial flow doesn't seem to be appearing, when the right and perfect mate doesn't seem to be showing up, when the right home or apartment or the healing that we've been longing for, perhaps for years, doesn't seem to show up. We turn within and we remember. Faith is knowing that Spirit is already at work, regardless of the appearances to the contrary. Joel Goldsmith, the wonderful mystic of the 20th century, wrote, what God can do, God is doing. I love that. What God is doing, What God can do, God is already doing. God is not waiting for your words to become really great. Oh, I really like that affirmation. Okay, here's your good. No, that isn't God. That's an old version of God. But what God can do, God is doing. The life energy we call God or spirit or whatever word you use for God is fine. God doesn't care. God is not a person with an ego who cares about these kind of things. It's a spiritual energy, always here, always willing to move forward, but we have to flick the switch. If we're stumbling around the dark, go and what? Go turn the light on. So if God is doing God's thing, so to speak, the block then is where? The block is on my end. I am somehow blocking the fullness of spirit coming forth. Not on purpose, certainly, because we've been praying, we've been affirming, we've been longing for the good to come forth. But what am I doing that is not allowing this wonderful energy to flow? Through holding a picture in my mind to the contrary of what the universe has for me, I am blocking my good. Through thinking and feeling and speaking about lack or limitation or the unavailability of suitable men or women to partner with, or in my mind, the unavailability or the cost of having a home or an apartment in the neighborhood I live in, that is going to tell me I can't have it because I'm holding in my mind it's too expensive. Whereas the right and perfect rent or mortgage may be available in that very place, but by my words, by the power of my words, I've been turning it off. Or feeling and speaking words of not being good enough to have the career that my soul would long to have. I'm the one who is turning it off. And my faith that I can never have that is being met, and the universe says, well, that's a really weird prayer, but it's your prayer, so okay. We can change. We don't have to say those things anymore. We don't have to affirm those with power anymore. You see, we've had faith, but we just had faith that it wasn't going to get any better than it actually was. We have been 100% convinced that things were terrible and they were just going to continue being terrible. And we got surprised when it actually got worse. Why the surprise? We know if you've been in unity for any length of time, we know what we focus on grows. That's the truth. That's the way it works. Part of the problem lies in what writer Joseph Carey said. I dimly see that I want to be helped, but only on my terms. I don't believe in miracles for me. Gosh, did you hear that? We want to be helped, but we want to be helped the way we want it done. God, come over here. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to do it this way. You see, the truth is we don't know how. We don't know how it will happen until Spirit reveals, here's how it's going to happen. And it will happen in the right and perfect time, in the right and perfect way. It has taken me a long time, many decades, to finally get that. I don't know how until Spirit reveals how at the right and perfect time. So we have to ask ourselves the ultimate question, well, how do we know? How will we know? How does all this work? That's what we've been discussing in my class this week on there's a spiritual solution to every problem. There is a spiritual solution, and I have to get myself in alignment with it. I have to agree with it. I have to bump my energy up. I have to say yes to it, and then it begins to appear. So out of this comes all the good I've been looking for in my life, my career, my health, my home life, the right and perfect everything showing up. will show up when I say yes to it. God desires only good for us. God knows how to bring that good forth. Faith is knowing Spirit already has it at work. What God can do, God is doing. In the right and perfect way, in the right and perfect time, in the right and perfect place, with the right and perfect sequence of events. I am in my right place, going to my true place. And getting excited about that, bumping up the joy, as I mentioned in the meditation earlier. We have to be joyful. We have to be excited, enthusiastic about all of this showing up. Enthusiastic literally is from the Greek, meaning enthos, out of God. So you being enthusiastic is a holy thing. Developing faith is a matter of constantly letting go and knowing if I've turned this over to love and wisdom, there is nothing more that I actually can do except do it with joy and excitement. And when it comes to mind, say thank you. Feel gratitude for the good coming forth. I can't wait to see how you're going to do this one. God is already at work. And with that in mind, I am alert and awake and excited to the possibilities in my life right now. Fuel it every day with excitement, with zeal, and with joy. And that will accelerate the desired good into your world. I used to work in the Silent Unity telephone prayer room. And I can't tell you how many times I've prayed with somebody. I worked there for 3 years. And I was a trainer in the telephone prayer room for the new employees coming in, the new prayer associates as they are called now. So I would be praying on the phone, and I would know absolutely that the power of God was at work. You are a powerful child of God. All the abundance you need is joyfully, powerfully surging into your life right now. God is at work, and we are grateful. Amen. Now, way too often, I would get a response something like, okay, if you say so. Or I still don't see how this is going to work. Can you tell me about that again? Or thank you, Silent Unity, but I just don't have any money. Or does this mean I'll have money tomorrow? Or can you do another prayer for someone to come and give me some money? Again, we want it our way. Because these lovely, wonderful people who were calling to pray didn't know how it was going to come. They were asking me for more specific prayers about, I want you to pray really hard that somebody shows up at my door and they give me this thing. Well, if that's the way Spirit has for it to work, then we will affirm it, but remain open and receptive, and you may be very surprised. Well, I hope so. So it could be very often they just didn't understand the way prayer works. Prayer works when we say thank you first, when we are joyful first, when we are enthusiastic first. When we are not allowing that to happen, there goes our faith, there goes the miracle, there goes our good. So I believe joy wakes us up to the good of God, longing for movement through us. Joy is God tapping on the door of our subconscious, to paraphrase Emily Cady. I believe that joy is a divine magnet and brings every good, imagined and unimagined, into our world. I believe that when we get excited about the good, the universe returns that excitement 1,000, 1,000,000-fold if we are open and receptive to it. See, God does vibrate at a very high rate, higher than 99.9% of us even go to. We tend to vibrate lower. God doesn't love me. Nobody will ever love me. I'm going to be all alone in life and die with only a goldfish for a friend. Well, Silent Unity, I hope it works, knock wood. You know, we see so many older people in life who are alone, and they say, I don't have anybody around me, and I want to say, be a friend. Show interest in others. and they will be interested in you as well. If we feel that we're alone, we tend to go inside of ourselves rather than expand outwardly. So what is it you can do today to expand your life? Again, we may be at home, we may be quarantining, we may be sheltering in place. Doesn't mean our souls are. Reach out. Who can you reach out to? Make a phone call today to somebody that you know is alone, lives alone, they may be older. Reach out to them. Write them a letter. Write them a wonderful letter saying, I really love you and here's why. It'll make their day. It'll make their year. With you reaching out, you're telling the universe, I am open and accepting, and invite the same energy into my world. Breathe into your heart that wonderful joy, that wonderful good that is waiting for all of us. No matter where we are, no matter what we're doing, joy is available right now. God bless you.
So grateful for Reverend Paul's beautiful message on joy, and also on just being aware of how it is that we have to open from our end, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, just kind of open up from this part of us. And I too was struck by that quote that what God can do, God is already doing. In some ways, it's kind of a letdown, because it's like, that's it? You know, it's like, so this is it? This is your big idea? But what it tells me really, for me personally, is then all the movement has to be from my end. In other words, I'm the one now that has to open. It's not going to be done for me or done to me. It's something that has to come through me. And somehow I need to open to that ongoing activity of God that I've just affirmed is happening. I need to partner with it, and I need to allow it. And so my prayer is often, please come through me. Please do through me. Please, because that way I get pulled into it. I get pulled into whatever is changing. And I can feel, just like when a breeze comes through, I can feel changed myself. So I know the change is happening in me and in harmony with that. That's how I like to work with the universe, and that's what he stirred up in me. So what was your impressions? How did y'all feel about it?
I related in so many times in my life where something showed up and it was what I had been affirming and envisioning, but maybe not in the place or with the people or the conditions that I thought that was going to unfold in. And I went to ministerial school. I thought I was going to go back home. My ministry was going to be in New York. And I didn't know it would end up in Houston, and it turned out to be exactly the way that I envisioned my ministry, but in a different location. But if I had said, no, New York, only New York it is, then I would have totally closed myself off from all the wonderful experiences that I've had since I've been here. So I think that it's useful, certainly in my life, to pay attention to that guidance that may ask you to step out of your comfort zone into a new space with new people and new circumstances, and maybe a little uncomfortable to adjust, to move, or whatever it happens to be. But there's the universe aligning with your vision, and be flexible, because it's going to be even better. It can be even better than what you, in your limited kind of ideas of your experience, could imagine.
Yeah, I was struck by things he was saying. It reminded me of what a friend once told me. He says, if you want to know what you've been praying for, look at what you have. Mm-hmm. And so the corollary to that then is that, well, if I have a specific aspiration, something I want, then I, of course, give that to God and infuse it with joy and celebration. But the big takeaway from what Paul just said is, then let go of the expectation for how, the specifics of it, leave that to God. But then, I'd really like to hear you folks take on something else I've heard around unity a fair amount, and that is you have to be specific, that whenever you're praying and if it's a prayer of petition, it's not enough just to say, I want to feel better, or I want greater abundance. Greater abundance, how, But I'm hearing a little expectation from what Paul is saying, that we should surrender that, just live in joy, and God's doing what God can do. And anyway, I just got a little bit tripped up by some various thoughts I've had about unity with what he was saying there, and I would like some clarification if either of you have some ideas about that.
I would love to answer that, because it is a struggle inside of me, as the having heard that too, thinking that, it's my obligation, my responsibility. If I want it, then I need to be very specific and detailed. And immediately I get kind of a cold sweat feeling, because I realize I don't really know what's best for me. I intuitively know that. I have opinions. I have tons of things I love and things I don't like. I've got a lot of that. But I don't really have any sense of what is really in my best interest, necessarily. Even when I think I do, somehow at some level I know I really don't. So I, too, have... I've shied away. I've kind of wandered up that path, thinking I'm going to, I'll try this specificity thing. But the truth is, I'm not sure a red Corvette is really going to make me happy, even if I think I want it for the time being. So, it just is really hard for me. So I, too, really subscribe to the idea that whatever is in my highest good, that's my way of naming it. I want my highest good. I really do. I really do, even when it may not taste good, look good. It may be bumpy, it might be hard, it might be painful for a little bit, whatever it is. But if it will get me there, I'm game. I'm in. I'll do that. I'll be that. I want that. And so that's my way of naming something specific. I'm looking for a particular kind of outcome without knowing anything about where it'll land me, right?
Yeah.
I've always understood that what I want and what God wants for me are not necessarily two different things. So I can know that if it's coming from my heart and it's a desire that I have, that it's a God desire. And I try to let go of also and be in the surrender too of what that's like. Like I went to a coach once, a life coach, she was, what are your goals? What are your visions for your life? And I said, well, I'd like to have a child someday. And she's like, well, what kind of child, when? But just set a date. I was like, set a date? What? I was like, I can't put that on my goal sheet of a date.
Boy or girl?
Yes, yeah. I don't. So I knew, I surrendered, trust the process, and grateful for so grateful for my daughter, but just grateful for the outcome and how it unfolded, and also let go and said, well, if that is not the direction my life is headed, to be a parent, then I know that parenting will come in some other way, shape, or form if I'm not to be a biological parent. So I think it's important to be specific, because you could kind of be in victim consciousness and just be like, whatever, I need a car, whatever car, and then you end up with some schlocky car and you go, I didn't really want that. And so you kind of knew what you wanted, but you're playing the victim around it, because you just, I think specificity helps you to be more empowered into knowing what you want and to be able to see it. The law of attraction, when you're drawn to that, you're drawing your attention, your intention towards that which you desire, and so then you can see it when it shows up and go, oh yes, that's what, and even if it shows up in a different form, you get, okay, I get it. That's what you said. If you want to know what you're praying, look at your life, right?
That was great. That was very inspiring, what you just shared about that. My big takeaways, I'm sort of into watch cries these days. What you said implies that there's some sort of spiritual practice at play, so that I am in tune with my God self, with what God is inspiring in me, so that it too is a valid voice of God's intention, is my own desire. That's beautiful. I dig that. I can live into that space. And so my watch cries that I take away from this are listen, surrender, and joy. Mm-hmm. Just kind of stir those up, and live into that moment to moment to moment. I think I can get some juice out of that. And then I just have one other thought that occurred to me as I was listening to you share. It's just the friend to that other idea about you want to know what you're praying for, look at what you have. The other one is that if God wanted it to be any other way, it would be that way. Mm-hmm. And so that feeds well into my understanding of surrender, is that I am not a victim of the universe, and I'm certainly not willful over the universe. I'm in a dance with the universe, and I have agency so that I can listen to what's trying to happen through me, and then I can infuse that with joy and just stay in that dance. And as long as I can keep that hacky sack in the air, everything's groovy.
Well, I really think what you put your finger on, David, is just the surrender part, because the surrender already suggests partnership, with something greater. It isn't just letting go and giving up. Mm-hmm. It's really letting go and allowing, something to come through. It's partnership, and that's what takes you someplace else. So that always feels like a spiritual practice. It also feels like relief in a way for me to let go of needing to know, because there's a part of me that always needs to know, but being surrendered to it is my knowing. It's like that becomes good enough for me for the time being when I remember that. And I loved what you said also, Jean Marie, is you gave me another insight into how we can, in our worst ways of being, of not really feeling worthy. That's the trick, is that underneath we don't really feel worthy to ask for anything, or we don't feel worthy of God giving us anything or whatever. So then we just don't want to name it because we don't want to be disappointed. We don't want to find out that the unworthiness I feel is also how God sees me, or whatever. It gets validated or something. So there is a way to hide out in not naming. And if that's a pattern, and if that's something that, we're feeling, or that's a place we can go into, then it does become a practice to begin to step up and say, no, I really do need a good, dependable vehicle. I would love for it to be attractive. I love the color blue. I would really love
Red Corvette, yes.
Yeah, or a red Corvette. I would really love something, that, and then you begin to get a picture. You begin to get a feel for what that feels like, and then you dare to desire. You dare to put it out there and dare to look for it. And then if I was really going to get a car, what would I do? Maybe I'd start going to look for one, And so it becomes a part of that process of deserving and wanting to be a part of that. Can I tell really quickly about my story about at the end of ministerial school? This was the ministry I came out of. And so, and my family was still living here while I was going away to ministerial school. So when I got finished, or getting close to being finished, I was looking for where in the world am I going to go? I've already been at one of the biggest, most wonderful Unity churches in the country, but but where's my ministry? What am I going to go do? I was looking in every part of the country, and when I would meditate, I was looking at the big map of the United States. That was as far as I wanted to go. I didn't really want to go international. I just wanted here. So I just looked in my meditation, and it was just one bland, neutral color. I kept waiting for a light to, fireworks to go off. I just really wanted a freaking sign, It's like, okay, I'm totally open, God, just show me. Where do you want me to go? And I looked and looked and looked, and nothing was coming. So the only thing I could do was go home, and home was Houston. And so when I was, as school was winding up, I got an invitation from Reverend Howard Caesar because he had opened up a position for an associate, and so was asking me if I wanted to apply. And of course, as soon as I got that, I just turned to my husband. I go, oh, I just got a job offer. Not really, but almost. It's like wow. And then I realized in my meditation, when I was looking at the United States, I was standing in Houston, looking all over the country for where I was supposed to go, and it just wouldn't reveal itself. I realized it was because I was already here.
It was literally right in front of you. I love that.
Underneath my feet. Yeah.
Yes. Awesome. We're so grateful for all the different ways that God has worked to bring us together, to bring you to this time with us, to be part of our spiritual community in all the ways that you give and connect with us and serve. We're so grateful for you. So let us take all that is on our hearts today, whatever vision has shown up for you, turn it over to Spirit in prayer. We know that God is infinite good, God is infinite love, God is our source. And so we turn to source now for guidance, greater awareness of health, wholeness, abundance. We call to mind anyone in our lives, any person, any situation or condition that we would like to hold in the light, that we would like to see differently, to be blessed, to find peace, to experience greater love. And so we speak those names, situations, places, conditions into the space where we are, sending those prayers into the universe together. Releasing, letting go, and trusting God is doing all that God can do in these lives. That realization is known and felt. That vibration is lifted to a higher level of peace and a knowingness of God's presence. As we release these prayers, we trust God is at work, and we are grateful. And so it is. Amen.
So this Sunday, Reverend Michael will continue and bring to a conclusion his wonderful series. And the name of his talk is How Can I Help? So after having taken us through the evolution of consciousness and finding our place in it and seeing where we are now, how can I help? How can I be more? And Reverend Michael will be concluding his series this Sunday, so you don't want to miss that at 11 o'clock. Also, the Spanish language service will be mirroring that talk title with ¿Cómo puedo ayudar? And Claudia Olmos will be giving that lesson. You'll see that on live stream at 9:45. You can sign up now to join a spirit group. We're ready to start another round of wonderful spirit group experiences on Zoom. You can choose from curriculum of Divine Audacity, Discover the Power in Espanol as well, Infinite Connections, LGBTQ, Think and Grow Rich for Men and Women, Touching the Stillness, and more. You can sign up now at unityhouston.org. The groups begin the week of February 7th. So you've got a little bit of time and you've got an opportunity to make new friends. Hope you'll be doing that. What starts this Sunday, several things. Absolute Abundance Metamorphosis kicks off with Reverend Jean Marie on Sundays from 1:30 to 3:30 on Zoom. You can still register at unityhouston.org. Also, Journey Through Grief online workshop with Reverend Mindy Lawrence Curtis will begin this Sunday as well at 1:30. You can register for Zoom, register for the Zoom link so you can participate in her workshop. She has been doing this for years and has wonderful presence and wonderful skills, as well as wonderful information and tools for you to use. So if this is speaking to you, make sure you don't miss it. We are also going to be collecting dry pet food and donated pet supplies this Sunday from 12:30 to 2 in the sanctuary drive-through area for Animal Kinship Ministry and partnership with Animeals. Next Wednesday, we're going to bring a very special service. It's our annual White Stone ceremony. We typically do it on the first Wednesday of the new year because of the closures and all that. We were trying to figure out how to best offer it, and we've decided that White Stone will work really well, and we're going to we're going to do it next Wednesday at 7 o'clock, live streaming at this time. But you can pick up this Sunday your white stone. It's looks about the size of a domino, but it has really easy surface to take a soft lead pencil and write whatever it is that comes to you in the meditation. And our service next Wednesday will have the usual features in it, but our meditation will be a very special meditation for visioning for your new year, for a fresh start, for a new beginning, for a new name. And as you open yourself to that, having a stone or having something that you will keep in front of you to write down what comes to you, so that you're reminded throughout the year how that image, word, phrase, picture, whatever it is, changes and what meaning you draw from it for your life for the year. So we hope that you'll be joining us then. And as we said, you can pick up, did I say this out loud? You can pick up this Sunday in through the sanctuary drive-through, your stone from 12:30 to 2 also. Finding Yourself in Transition class is being facilitated by Monique Gonzalez, who is a LUT candidate, and she's offering it on Fridays starting February 5th, 7 to 9 p.m. on Zoom. Register at unityhouston.org.
We join together now in saying the prayer for the welfare of all beings, knowing that the purpose of our practice is to be a blessing to the world. Let's pray together. By the power of this practice, may all beings have happiness and the causes of happiness. May all beings be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. May they know the sacred joy that arises in the space beyond suffering. May they rest in equanimity that knows no grasping or hatred. May they experience the equality of all beings. May my practice be of benefit to all.